at attack, and moving through the lineup, they will go with Alex Rode in goal, trying to bounce back from a shaky performance in week one. And we're underway from the face-off circle at that V-Sabre logo.
Yeah, both teams have excellent face-off men. Again, Justin Swink from last year, the transfer, and Connor Gaffney, an outstanding face-off man for Lehigh. That should be a great battle all day.
Lehigh with possession, and of course the change this year, the shot clock, Doug, which we will be paying attention to. And there's going to have to be some adjustments from some teams. Right down Main Street, a shot low is going to be saved by Rode, and he's going to have the long heave, trying to find Michael Krause, but he cannot get his stick on that one, so a turnover of Virginia right there.
Yeah, look for Virginia to try to pick up the pace. Again, with Lehigh missing two top attackmen, the question will be, what will there be in terms of pace of play? Last week, because they were missing those two attackmen late in the game, they lost to Hofstra in a 4-3 game. Outstanding in the goal for Lehigh was James Spence with 16 saves. So I would expect Lehigh to want to at least extend possessions and try to avoid a transition opportunity for Virginia.
Marito playing catch with his fellow midfielders currently. We'll go ahead and hit some storylines. Keys to the game for Lehigh. It's going to be possession, Doug. They do not want this to be a track meet. They want to slow things down. They were able to do so last time out in a strange 4-3 final score. It was a loss to Hofstra in their second game of the season. And then for Virginia on the other side, they want to run. They want transition offense. It's the philosophy of Lars Tiffany ever since he arrived here in Charlottesville a couple of years ago. Turnover right there by Lehigh.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Cassis last night, he said that it was not a game where they were trying to slow the game down. Actually, Hofstra slowed the game down in the fourth quarter and were able to score 3 goals as opposed to a shutout by Lehigh.
And Lehigh was without Lucas Spence for a good deal of that game, which certainly hurt their attack. Virginia in the home whites, head to toe, moving left to right, attacking the goal to your right. From your vantage point, Matt Moore, left wing.
Yeah, Matt Moore converted to attack along with Michael Krause and Ian Laviano. Gives Virginia a little bit more potency coming from behind the goal with Matt Moore dodging primarily from the right side and Michael Krause. Great matchup today between Craig Schick, an All-American defenseman, and Michael Krause, an All-American attackman. That should be an excellent battle between two of the top players in that position.
Here's Moore for Aiken. A few new faces in the Virginia lineup this season, as here's a bounce shot which goes just wide into the right from Ryan Conrad, who almost feels like a new face after missing the majority of last season with that ACL, but you will not find a better double deuce out there in the country, Doug.
No reset yet. Virginia shot but missed the cage, so the clock is still active, and it's at 20 seconds right now.
Here's Moore in the left alley, providing some dodging over there for Virginia. Backing in, firing a shot low. It's wide of the cage. Virginia there to back it up.
9 seconds.
Shot clock still at 9, as you mentioned. Got to get it on cage. Herring now. Topside Virginia. Doc Aiken with 3, with 2, with 1, and that is going to do it for the shot clock. Lehigh possession.
Well, it's not a bad thing if you possess the ball into the end of the shot clock and the ball goes out of bounds, because it does give you a chance to get your defensive midfield on the game and get into a settled ride, which Virginia likes to use a lot of 10-man. So, Virginia took a shot at the end of the clock, but it went out of bounds over the end line. Gave Virginia a chance to make the transition.
Smooth clear there by Lehigh.
The faster you clear, because there's a 20-second count coming out of the box, that you have to get the ball to the midline, and then 60 from there. So the quicker the clear, the longer the possession.
Fitzpatrick setting up an X for this Lehigh team, who certainly had to make some adjustments due to Spence and Pettit being out of the lineup. But certainly a talented group who's been together for quite some time. If you just look through the roster, Doug, you see senior, junior, and that defense rock solid. Here's a low rip, which is going to go wide of the cage. Virginia there to back it up. It was Mickey Fitzpatrick who found himself topside, but nobody behind the cage there, and it'll be Virginia possession.
Well, yeah, you certainly have to feel for Lehigh, like you said, with the experience and the depth that they have at the senior class, and the experience, what it would mean to them to have a full roster today. And so you take your 2 leading scorers out, it really changes the flow of the game, but it also means that you're asking players to play in a different position on the offensive end, moving Fitzpatrick to attack, who is normally a midfielder.
Virginia gives to Ryan Conrad, and now it's a first goal of the game. It is Matt Moore picking up where he left off against Loyola from the left wing. Nice shot.
Well, I'm expecting Lehigh to play some zone. Not surprised that Lehigh is going to try to maybe, again, use the zone to try to take away some individual dodges by Virginia, but Matt Moore just sidesteps the defender, clears his hands, And again, that's where Matt Moore being on attack really helps Virginia's offense, because last year they primarily had one dodging attackman and Michael Krause, with Mike DeMario and Ian Laviano playing on the inside. So you now have a power dodger coming from each side, Krause and Moore.
Matt Moore freeing up the right hand right there, and he is so talented with his stick skills, can shoot lefty and righty, but Ian Laviano is for sure a left-handed shooter, which is why you see Matt Moore out on that far wing. This faceoff is going to be won by Lehigh. Coming away from the crowd, there is Connor Gaffney.
And we talked about, he's an excellent faceoff man. Last week he won, the majority of the faceoffs, including all four in the fourth quarter. Even though Lehigh was not able to score, he gave them chances. And for Lehigh to be successful, it's important that they win faceoffs to avoid any runs by Virginia in transition. So he is a key today with the injured attackman.
Manito in midfield. Virginia gets some of its SSDMs into the fray. Dave Smith, the senior. And that's a group Lars Tiffany wants to see a little bit more out of after Loyola was tremendous against the Cavaliers in the ground ball department in week 1. Right alley now, Echo Berger locks and loads and bounces one wide of the cage. Lehigh there for the backup.
Two things for Virginia. They need to play better team defense. They did last week. Of course, you're playing against the best player in the country, and Pat Spencer, who really gave Virginia big problems. And then Alex Rode needs to step up and make some key saves.
Top side, finding the man on the doorstep. A flag flies. Penalty coming once we get this stoppage. So we'll wait for the call, but good ball movement there from Lehigh. Had a point-blank opportunity.
Certainly a better start for Alex Rode than he had against Loyola. Key couple saves. Nice ball movement, like you said, by Luke, by Lehigh. They're gonna try to make Virginia to slide and recover. Virginia's probably better in the team defense than they are on the individual defense. And so, again, that high hit is such a big call now. And so, therefore, you're going to get that call particularly early in the game. A lot of emphasis on the high hit around the neck and shoulder area.
So Virginia will have a man in the box, and this will start the first EMO. It's Collegy who will sit. And Lehigh trying to make the most of this 1-minute EMO. They work it counterclockwise.
And this is another place we're certainly losing Spence and Pettit, your extra man group.
Here's a shot which is saved by Rode as he went to his knees to block that one, getting all of the body in front. Now here's Rye. To the cutter in the middle, and that's a bounce shot which also misses. That one coming from Pierce.
Right now you've got the shot clock with a save, so you're going to reset and still have the extra man. So Lehigh can use this as an extended possession.
19 on that penalty, and good defense applied there from Virginia. And they will win the run out there. So the deflection on the far side, I believe it was Greco who got the stick on it. He'll receive the pass from Rode here and try to get the clear for Virginia. And they give it to the one-man clearing machine, also known as Ryan Conrad.
For Lehigh, you take, two key players out of your extra man. There may be some mistakes in terms of, inline coverage for players maybe not normally on that extra man group, or players playing in a different place.
Back to even strength. Virginia will insert Ryan close into the game for the first time today. Pardon me, Jack Simmons.
Virginia's going to have a mix of experienced and freshman midfielders. They really like Simmons.
Speaking of, Simmons locks and loads, fires a low shot, which is going to be saved.
Great save right there by Spence.
And a scrum for it on the near wing, popped up into the air. Right in front of that Virginia bench. Still waiting for a possession, and Collegy makes a play right there.
So, perfect example of the shot clock reset resetting again, because you had 3 instantaneous possessions on the same ground ball. That's where the officials are really going to have to make sure that they give a good, clear signal, which is basically a signal over their head, a winding signal. It's really important to get that reset.
So Lehigh possession after the hold. And now it goes right back over in the Cavaliers' favor on the near sideline. Matt Jama and SSDM getting his first touch today. Jared Connors trying to find more, couldn't handle it cleanly, and a caused turnover by Lehigh. Uckelberger going the other direction as the midi A nice stop to pop out of that potential double team. And
yeah, you could see Virginia wanting to push. They do a lot of carry by the defensemen and defensive midfielders into the offensive end to extend a possession or get a break. Sometimes they will go and set pick. So, unfortunately for Virginia, turnover in the pass between Connors and Matt Moore.
Schelling moving swiftly through midfield, gives back to Eckelberger, who's had a lot of touches thus far, dictating much of what Lehigh's been doing. Yeah. Behind the cage they go.
Yeah, Eckelberger, big midfielder, 6'4", 225. So, he's their most athletic midfielder.
Connors the pole on him right now. Not too many shots early in this one, Doug, especially on cage, and the majority have come from Lehigh thus far as they turn it over right there. And
you got a warding off right there.
Left channel, Virginia goes back to Moore, the game's goal scorer thus far. Krause picks up a roll right at that restraining line, and now he'll trot most likely back behind cage to X.
It looks like you got Craig Chick at the top of their zone. And certainly, that shows when you put your best defender at the top of the defense, that shows you're going to be playing a zone concept rather than having him match up with Michael Krause. So they must feel, again, that their matchups are best in a zone situation rather than man for man.
Movement from Virginia here. Here's a jump shot from Moore. Can't get it to go. Saved by Spence, and the ground ball picked up by Lehigh. Nice spin to get out of trouble, but right into the direction of Virginia. Off the pipe now. The second one is finished. This time it's Jeff Connor, the freshman, finding the back of the net.
Well, Spence makes an outstanding save, but unfortunately for Lehigh, he's not able to control it. Ball bounces to their left side, and it becomes an unsettled situation, a broken clear, and Virginia capitalizes with an open goal really by Connor.
So we'll take another look here. Just unable to scoop it cleanly in the stick. First miss from Laviano, but following it up is Connor. We'll take a break here. You're listening to ACC Network Extra. Here to Klockner Stadium, Virginia and Lehigh. A little Friday night action. Currently your score 2-0. Doug, let's talk about the Virginia offense. It can get going in an instant. Right now, 2 goals up on the board, but here's some numbers from last season. Top 10 in the country if you're looking at offensive production.
It really is. And again, you add the element of having a Matt Moore on attack, which means he's involved in every possession, as opposed to being a midfielder last year where he would get runs. The other thing is having a healthy Ryan Conrad. That unfortunate knee injury, and he missed almost the entire season. So you add 2 dynamic offensive players along with Doc Dakin and Michael Krause. So that really, I think, in terms of goals, assists, and points, Virginia should have a higher total this year.
And that's really where the tremendous optimism was for this Virginia team. Getting Conrad back, just a huge boost to go along with an already very capable Cavalier midfield led by Doc Sakin, of course, which put them at number 6 in the country in the preseason, of course, dropping to 11 after that loss to Loyola. And then Lehigh also ranked in the preseason as we get a whistle and a violation, which is going to send the possession back to the Cavaliers. Lehigh coming into the season number 13 in the nation, now unranked after that loss. Here's a cost turnover right there.
That's Craig Schick right there. fourth in career turnovers. The top turnover man in the country takes the ball away from Michael Krause at the top of the box. You can see why if they play zone, they put someone of his ability. His penchant for turning people over is unbelievable. He is the best in the country in doing that.
No one better in the business than Craig Schick. That's a name you're going to hear plenty of times on today's broadcast. And that's a critical CT right there. Lehigh trying to cut this Virginia lead in half.
Now, Lehigh's taking 9 shots, so it's not as if they're, holding the ball. They're just, patient to trying to get the best matchup and the best shot for their offense, but they're moving the ball exceptionally well.
Left wing. This one goes a little bit high and over the head of Alex Rowe. Lehigh there for the backup, though. That shot coming from Ryan Close.
Again, no contact, so the clock will continue to run at 30 seconds.
Here's Fitzpatrick cradling and handing off duties to Cintron into the game.
Excellent defense right there by Fox.
Fox was a very bright spot in the Virginia midfield last season, the defensive midfield, I should say, as a freshman. Speaking of another sophomore now, Will Rock, who's trying to jar the ball away. Penalty coming on Virginia. Lehigh doesn't care. They rip the cords right there with a goal. And that is Tristan Rye, the senior attackman, cutting the Virginia lead in half.
Now, Tristan Rye is the one healthy attackman starting today. Just excellent ball movement by Lehigh. Again, the ball gets on the ground, the flag is down, they pick it up, and sometimes those situations result in unsettled, and Rye steps in and bangs one from about 12 yards high on Alex Rowe. So if it's a minute foul, Lehigh will have the opportunity to play man up after the goal.
So Rye finishes it off, but you got to tip your cap there to the play of Close, who kept it alive after the foul or the late penalty against Will Rock. Well, able to scoop that ground ball and pick out his attackman.
Should be an advantage right here for Lehigh because Virginia only able to bring a face-off man in one wing on the face-off.
The lone wing is Jared Connors. And the face-off men going to do battle right now. And for Virginia in that role, Hedy LaSala.
He was a freshman and timeout Lehigh.
After they gained possession and still 51 ticks left in this EMO, they're going to talk things over, try to figure out a little set play perhaps to tie this game up.
Well, their last extra man, they didn't cover the end line, and Virginia was able to get a run out and a possession. So I would expect with the 2 missing attackmen, Coach Cassis is still trying to, work with his extra man group and get the right personnel on the field. And so good timeout and get a big face-off win by Gaffney.
Yeah, speaking of the face-off, man, that's certainly a storyline to pay attention to today. A lot of talent out on the field. If you're looking at Virginia, Hedy LaSala, the freshman, getting the duty here in the first half, but we should see Justin Schwenk in the second potentially. Lars Tiffany likes to go with multiple men at the face-off X. Schwenk set a UVA record for face-off wins in a season last year. Now, some of that's due to the fact that there were a lot of goals scored. There were a lot of face-offs out there, Doug. But Schwenk, has been a breath of fresh air for Virginia fans in the face-off department because that's been the one area over the course of the last decade and a half where they've been lacking.
Well, there's 2 philosophies on face-offs. If you have an outstanding face-off man like Lehigh, you don't feel the need. They do have a very good freshman. In fact, in talking to coaches this morning, they have the best freshman face-off man in the country in their class who is hurt, again, another injury, and so they have 2 outstanding face-off men, but Gaffney's probably going to take 100% of the face-off today. And Virginia last year, as you said, lacked the second face-off man. Jay Brugel took some of the face-offs, but now they feel with LaSala and Schwenk that they can have 2 outstanding face-off men, and facing off is such a rhythm thing that, sometimes you go with the hot hand, and that gives Virginia the flexibility to either face off both or maybe wear down the one face-off man. So this is a big situation for Virginia. Again, the one thing that helps Lehigh, and I think Virginia doesn't want to do, is give Lehigh extra man, which gives them opportunities to get settled offense, and they have 77 seconds. So even if they don't score on the extra man, they're still going to be able to possess.
Here comes Lehigh with their EMO, 48 ticks remaining as they set up shop on the left wing. Austin Pierce now directing things topside. Lehigh with a good opportunity on their first EMO of the game. Virginia just able to win that run out. Behind cage they go. Here's a rifle from the right wing, and there's a goal. We're knotted up at 2-2. Tomadello finishes that one off.
Again, another senior. That's one thing we're going to see is that Coach Cassis is going to want his senior class to be the leaders today, even without the 2 attackmen. So Tomanello and Rye, both seniors, scoring the 2 goals for Lehigh.
How much to this one, Doug? Just setting up, using his height, firing one high to low to beat Rhoda. We're all knotted up at 2. And Doug, the changing landscape in lacrosse has made these mid-February early season games fascinating. There's so much talent distributed across the landscape. Back in the day, a powerhouse like, say, an ACC school, you'd think you'd breeze through until the conference schedule. No longer the case. Lehigh's coming in here very much intent on grabbing a W.
Well, with their senior class and the experience, Virginia's opened up their season with the 2 top teams in the Patriot League, Loyola and Lehigh, who played in the championship game last year. So, Lehigh did not come in, in all of Virginia, and they certainly, even though they're a little shorthanded, are expecting to coming to win. And that's, if you look at Coach Cassis' history, he's a winner.
And that's what happened in week 1 of the lacrosse season, the official week 1, I should say. Colgate getting that nice win over Cuse. You had Towson taking it to Hopkins, and then, of course, High Point defeating number 2 Duke, then number 2 Duke. There's a move through midfield. Lehigh now looking for their first lead of the game. Dispossessed there. Will Rock with the CT. Going to the ground and not quite getting it clear of dangers. Dave Smith.
And this is where you have these multiple possession situations where the referees are really going to have to work hard to make the signal visible.
Ecology for Greco for Harris. Harris trying to split 2 Lehigh middies. And he'll escape danger and find Matt Moore.
Another player that we didn't mention in the open, who plays long stick midfield for Lehigh, Teddy Leggett, is another outstanding sophomore defensive midfielder. Again, excellent on the ground. The one thing the Lehigh Poles do very well is when the ball gets on the ground, they are very good at picking up grounders.
Herring at the doorstep.
Nice recovery there by Chick. Again, recognizing the backside look.
Herring probing it at X. Lehigh set up in the zone right there. Michael Kraus. Matt Moore thinking about it for a minute. He's already got 1. Kraus, cross-cage pass. Laviano couldn't get it cleanly, and now he goes to ground.
So you're going to loose ball push, but great look on the... Tough to get the through pass against the zone, but Kraus was able to get it to Laviano, who just couldn't handle the pass cleanly.
Kraus backing in, trying to free the hands. He does so, missing wide of the cage.
Of course, with the violation, you get a reset. So, again, Virginia will have the full 80 seconds. Certainly cleans the game up in terms of officiating as far as the consistency of putting on the stall or the warning.
Virginia topside. Matt Moore with the dodge. Ball just sticks in his stick right there. Kraus firing wide to the right. Herring taking up the duty of the man behind cage here for Virginia. Kraus maneuvering to that right wing.
You can see why Lehigh was in a game last week, where their offense unfortunately wasn't able to get much, but their defense is outstanding.
Herring trying to pick out Conrad. Won't find him, but the ball trickles back out topside. Cavaliers still have it. Going to ground is Matt Moore. He loses it out of his stick. Still loose. Lehigh is going to scoop the ground ball momentarily, but still not clear of danger. And now back into Spence's hands. Spence the lob. Lehigh with numbers, but doubtful they'll use them. Almost a turnover there for the Mountain Hawks, and there is the dispossess. Back into Virginia's possession momentarily.
Great action between the midfield lines. Both teams playing so hard, and that's where a good ride can create opportunities, and both teams rode very well. Cade Salstead, the freshman defenseman, with a big diving check. Eventually, Virginia's able to get the possession.
Make him back in for this run in midfield. He's going to take possession here.
But coming up on a minute.
More for Aiken. Distributes for Krause. Finds his way inside. Couldn't get it to go. And it's going to be Lehigh possession coming away with that one. Good defense applied there. From that close, Eddie Buhal and Lehigh's defense as advertised in that first quarter. We have come to the conclusion of 1-2 our score. Excellent lacrosse on hand here on a Friday night. It started with Moore getting the party started. Virginia went up 2-0.
Then Connor on the loose ball right there.
And then it was Lehigh responding. They've knotted things up here. Stay tuned. Second quarter action coming your way from Charlottesville. Back after this on ACC Network Extra. Get underway here from Charlottesville, Virginia, and Lehigh going at it. Taking a look at the Mountain Hawks and some of the leadership on this squad. A very seasoned attack. Of course, Andrew Pettit and Lucas Spence both not available due to injury today, but Tristan Rye, we've called his name already, and Mikey Fitzpatrick moving into an attackman's role today, Doug.
They have, and again, you have three senior defensemen at the other end of the field. This is an outstanding team that Lehigh has with great senior leadership.
And showing some poise there in the first quarter after going down 2-0 to Virginia. And this is a team where you can find yourself in a hole in an instant. Face-off being wrestled for. This one's going to find its way into Virginia's possession. Picking that one out of mid-air for the Cavaliers, Grayson Salad.
And again, you're seeing Virginia trusting their freshmen, putting them in key positions at the face-off on the defensive end as a starting defenseman and running midfield. So again, a lot of confidence in this freshman group recruited by Coach Tiffany.
Conrad waiting for Jeff Connor, the freshman, to hustle into the box, and now off for Doc Sakin. More for Connor. Laviano cutting down Main Street, and now Doc Sakin frees his hands. Great save made by Spence.
You're going to have a high hit right there.
Aiken there, the offender, so he's going to go to the box. Pretty easy call right there, Doug.
Yeah, and that's the third foul. Virginia's committed. Lehigh with no fouls. Again, because you're playing some zone, you're less likely to foul because you're playing more about area than you are about people. But, maybe some frustration for Doc Aiken. Takes the outside shot to save. He follows up and has the high hit. So
taking a look. Right now there's Aiken and just a head full of steam coming in.
As we know from every sport where there's contact, that's the one foul that the officials are going to be most concerned to make sure they call because it's all about safety. And, what you don't want to see is a player obviously hurt, but the officials have the discretion. And now it's going to be a non-releasable. They felt the foul was at such a level that they have the discretion to be able to make it non-releasable, not just time served. 2 minutes on. This will be their third. Yeah, that's pretty much a standard rule now that the high hit or the head and neck contact can be a 2-minute non-releasable. 1 of 2 today on the extra man opportunity, and they'll set up here moving left to right now due to the quarter change. Look for Virginia showing some pressure, trying to speed the extra man group up. Man up opportunities for the season, just 1 of 6 heading into today, 1 of 2
this evening.
Again, Lehigh doesn't have to rush. They don't have to use, normally a 30 or second a minute. They have 2, which is actually longer than the 80-second shot clock.
Eckelberger, defended there by Connors. Here's a hit applied. It was John Fox doing the damage, drawing it free momentarily, but a scoop, a pass, and a score. Tommy Schelling puts it in.
Yeah, he went to throw it back in.
New Jersey, his second goal of the season. Just his third game as a Lehigh Mountain Hawk.
Yeah, it's tough for a defense man down to recover an unsettled situation. So Lehigh possession. So 2
wing converges for Sticks. And the 1 wing converges for Virginia. 2, of course, for Lehigh. And there you go. 3 on 2. You got to like those odds if you're Kevin Cassis. And he is going to take a time to unrelease.
Get the possession, not able to.
Will Stephenson, 7.
Year with a new iPhone included from T-Mobile. The amazing iPhone XR is perfect for all those New Year, New You selfies. And only T-Mobile has unlimited with iPhone XR included for just $40. So get the iPhone you love most from the most loved in wireless. Bring your family to T-Mobile and get the amazing iPhone XR included for just $40 per line.
Glad to be with you on a Friday evening from Proctor Stadium. It is non-conference action between number 11 Virginia and Lehigh. The lacrosse season well underway mid-February. We've become accustomed to the drill. Take a look at the Virginia perspective. They're led by a pair of juniors, Doc Sakin, who's currently in the box, serving an unreleasable 51 points. Tremendous topside player, tremendous one-on-one midfielder, Doug. Nobody better in the business right now.
Yeah, he is really considered the top midfielder in the country. And then you talk about Michael Krause, only the 3rd player in Virginia history with 80 points in a season. But give credit to Lehigh so far. They've been able to neutralize Virginia's offense with excellent goaltending from Spence and their zone defense.
Here comes Lehigh on the man-up opportunity, picking out a man right in front of the doorstep. Saved by Rode. Here's a rejection a second time. Point blank right there from Mikey Fitzpatrick. But
2 huge saves for Alex Rode. In the man down, Virginia has the opportunity to get the ball, clear it, and kill that last minute that Doc Sakin is serving full serve time.
Rock now running, trying to keep the ball from danger. Now finds Laviano is short, and Laviano will enter into the box for Virginia with 30 seconds remaining before Aiken is released, and Matt Moore will just hold possession there in front of that Lehigh bench.
You don't think of critical saves only maybe 18 minutes into the game, but the way the pace of the game is going and the way Lehigh is defending, those were 2 very important saves by Alex Rhodes right on top of him in the man up in Virginia. He's just going to hold it until the release for Doc Sakin.
Rhodes already with 5 saves. He's conceded just 3.
Last week,
much better than he did against Loyola.
Yeah, a total of 8 saves for the game, already 5. Now the penalty's released.
And here comes Aiken. For Moore, Laviano playing a little 2-man game with Matt Moore. Laviano receives it. Cross-cage pass, a spin and fire from Krause, but that is going to be thwarted by Lehigh. Couldn't tell if it was Spence who rejected it or if it even got to the cage.
It did, because I could see the clock had been reset. So, again, Spence continuing his excellent play from last week against Hofstra with the 16 saves.
Scores table run by Mr. Myron Ripley, doing yeoman's work down there, and it's a new era with this shot clock for all scorers across the country.
Well, you had an extra table person to be able to do the clock.
Lehigh's able to finally gather after that sequence.
But they had cleared it, and Virginia never got the possession. So that's a situation where the 80-second clock was not reset.
Still 40, so it's been chopped in half. Kirst with it now. Delivers over to Eckelberger. Harrison Eichelberger. Eichelberger trying to get downhill, runs into a brief double team, and then runs out of it.
You know, we talked about Eichelberger as being the most physical midfielder for Lehigh, 6'4", 225.
Schelling, who just put one into the back of the net. Difficult pass here, and Virginia swarms. And a reset on the shot clock because there was possession there from Virginia. And now the Cavaliers do finally gather it. The freshman in close defense right there. For the Cavaliers, Cade Sawstead, who comes in highly touted, the number 11 recruit in the country.
You know, this might be a second or third game in February, but the ground ball work is mid-April. Both teams really fighting for ground ball. We've had a number of 3 and 4 possessions within a 10-yard space, so this tells you how much they value the ground balls in a game like this.
Virginia ground ball they finished first in the country in ground balls 5 of the last 10 seasons, Doug. And that's spanning back to the Stars years. So it's not just a coaching philosophy of Lars Tiffany. This has been culture at Virginia for a long time.
Well, Virginia's always been a team that's played at a pace where they try to turn you over with their ride. They play a physical brand of ball when the ball is on the ground. So not surprising Virginia's a top ground ball team, but Lehigh has done an excellent job in their defensive end of picking up ground balls.
Buhall completing the clear right there. Buhall the pull, and a nice little stick move to evade danger was put on by Parker Kent.
You know, you have to feel the Lehigh's getting, the kind of game they wanted, low scoring, some extended possessions for their offense, and excellent defense and goaltending.
They've been able to dictate the pace, in part due to how impressive their defense is, Doug. Fighting a way to cause turnovers. There's a high shot well over Alex Rhodes' cage. 20 on the shot clock now. Lehigh does win that run out. Cintron trying to get to work on Dave Smith. Fires a pass out topside. Lehigh now with 10 to shoot. Right now, and then there's the goal. Pumping the fist. Tomanello doubles up Virginia with that whip from out.
It looked like Alex wasn't seeing the ball very well, or was unprepared for the shot. Of Alex Rhodes, it looked like Alex wasn't seeing the ball. Like it went shots more like
goal run.
We've talked all along. Their senior class healthy, and a full team. They're as good as anybody, certainly in the Patriot League, and a definite candidate for NCAA tournament.
So at long last, Virginia has 2 wings on a faceoff, but it doesn't matter. It's one cleanly by Lehigh. Shot goes low and wide of the cage. Rhodes saw it cleanly, but winning the run out yet again, it's Cole Kirst.
Well, this is where Connor Gaffney's going to allow Lehigh to play the style that they are, which is longer possessions and that zone defense. If he continues to win faceoffs, it's going to be very important. If Virginia's going to get a run, they have to get a run on faceoffs.
Eichelberger, right alley run. A through pass. Kirst high and over the cage.
Nice offense by Lehigh. They're able to go ahead and get Virginia to turn and have to slide and recover, and they're doing a nice job with skip passes and putting the ball over the top.
Here's one low, and that makes it.
Well, Eichelberger recognized that he could get the chance to overhand bounce.
Look here from Eichelberger. Smoothly flowing, freeing up the left hands, and a bouncer low, which beats Rhodes. And now 5 different Mountain Hawks have not available activity. A little bit lacking in week 1. Give it up to 17 to Loyola. Started off strong here, but certainly a group that's going to have to develop throughout the course of the year. Here's a ground ball, which is going to be one. Maybe you call it a CT from.
Well, Schwenk wins the faceoff forward, and Lehigh does a nice job of just chasing and back checking, not giving Schwenk a chance to get the ball to the attack. A lot of teams are going to do that, shut the attack off and double team the faceoff man.
Virginia ride flexing its muscles right there. Laviano snacks one.
Great catch.
Out of midair, one-handed. And that's a critical change of possession from the Virginia standpoint. They have not had the ball in the attacking third in what seems like forever, Doug.
You know, it's important for Virginia. It's 5-2 in the second quarter, and the last thing you want to do with the way the game is being played, you want to take a good shot. You don't want to get too anxious and take a poor shot and give Lehigh another possession.
Chick is trying to make life difficult for Aiken. Laviano, topside, fires one in. Virginia ends the drought. It's 5-3.
Yeah, that's the kind of play that Virginia needed to make. Aiken coming down the pipe, throws the ball to Krause, and Krause with a skip pass to Laviano, who stepped out in behind the defense. Just like in basketball, you find the gaps in the zone, and therefore they were able to convert a very important possession.
Laviano finding the soft spot in the middle and just whipping one textbook, pumping the fist. He is on to the board. After struggling a little bit in the opener against Virginia, spurts at times, 5-goal spurts last season, just a tremendous talent.
Well, he's most effective inside. You know, he's quick, he's good at finding gaps and so forth. He's not really a dodger. And last year, of course, because of the two inside players playing inside with DeMario, Laviano is going to be more effective, with Matt Moore and Krause working hard inside. Again, a face-off opportunity for Lehigh. So, Virginia gets a goal, and then Lehigh gets the ball right back. So that's a formula that's going to make Lehigh very tough.
So, Virginia's last goal prior to that Laviano tally came back at the 6:14 mark of the first quarter. So they go on a lengthy drought before finally ending that one. But this is a team who prides itself on being able to score in rapid succession. You need face-offs to make that happen, though, as the ball is going to remain with Lehigh. 44 on the shot clock. Ten shots on goal for the Mountain Hawks, 7 for the Cavaliers. 5 saves from Alex Rode, 4 coming from Spence. Lehigh 6 of 10 on its clears, Virginia 7 of 8. And in the turnover category, Lehigh has turned it over 9 times, Virginia 7 TOs. From the left wing, a shot bounces off the stick of Rode. Credit another save.
Except for that one goal that they scored, Tomanello scored right at the end of the shot clock. Alex Rode is, again, what you want to see with the goalies, you want to make sure that he's seeing the ball well, and he seems to be moving much better than he did last week, and much better position both on high and low shots. Both goalies have played well.
He even stood up in the locker room following that Loyola loss, addressed the team, took responsibility, and that's something that Lars Tiffany appreciates. And you were certainly seeing a renewed sense of focus from the sophomore here this evening.
Well, the maturity of a goalie is not only being able to make saves, but also to run and take responsibility for his defense. Most freshmen have a difficult time, trying to direct the defense, so much pressure on making saves. Alex has grown as a goalie by being able to really captain the defense and quarterback his group.
And the goalie is one of the most, if not the most important position in the Tiffany system, Doug.
Well, it really is, and it's so much about, in every sport, particularly in lacrosse and basketball, it's all about communication. Great defense right here, 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Lehigh trying to slip a pass into the interior, picking up the change momentarily, getting decked right in front of the crease. Right there was Cole Kirst, Virginia possession. Going the other direction, it's Cotters the pole. Dumping off duties to Krause, who's been quiet thus far. Conrad doesn't snare it cleanly, but no one around, so he'll scoop up the change, and Virginia will get its changes in.
And this is where Virginia wants to take advantage of this transition, trying to get Lehigh unsettled in their defense, particularly since they're trying to establish the zone. So they're going to try to push. You can see Connors still in the game.
Moore winds it up. Throws one low, but Spence was there. Saw it all the way. And a penalty coming. Another is going to go against Virginia. Krause, I believe.
Clock.
Is it tune
man down, the rotation on man down.
Extra man number 5. Here comes Lehigh with a 2-goal lead, approaching the 3-minute mark of the first half, looking for more, trying to double up Virginia yet again. Top side it goes. Trying to pick out a man on the far side successfully, but Virginia with the good with the slide, but not there. There's another EMO goal coming from the visitors. Austin Pierce finishes.
Lehigh to make that extra, again, the ability of Lehigh to make that extra pass, get some skip passes, which is awfully tough for the defense to recover. And Alex Roach, effort that we're not going to beat.
Discipline Virginia not winning the face-off. 7-3 is the tally right now, with this one still up in the air. And then those 4 penalties, just critical. Virginia does get this one. And Doug, after the Loyola loss, the storyline was from Lawrence Tiffany saying, quite frankly, the men played hard, they played with passion, but they didn't play smart. And we're seeing a little bit of that reciprocated here in week 2.
Well, there's, penalties, some penalties are unavoidable, but, slashes and high hits, those are avoidable fouls. And those are the kind of fouls that give a team like Lehigh, which is, obviously using the time effectively to be able to play against a 5-man defense.
Herring skip pass. Here's a shot, which is going to be... Did it go? Yes.
Yes.
Michael Krause is onto the board. Great pick out from Herring. So that's a second goal of the season. He did have 3 assists in that opener.
And that extends that scoring streak of a point a game to 34 straight ties on defense. The defense wants you to do is rush your shot or take a 15-yard shot against a settled goalie.
Critical 2-11 right here in the second quarter. If you're Lehigh, you don't want all that yeoman's work to go to waste and see Virginia get a couple quick ones on the board. And the Cavaliers not playing an ideal first half, but a chance to get right back to a 1-goal deficit or a tie if,
Well, you can see the strength of Eichelberger right there. He's able to pick the grand ball up and go through 3 Cavalier riders and get the ball in the possession of Lehigh. And with 1:45, they're going to have a chance to probably possess inside a minute of the first half.
Shelling for Benito.
Important for Virginia not to get that 3-goal deficit again. If they'd like to be able to get one more opportunity to get a stop and a score.
Here's a run and a shot, which is deflected off Rhodes' knee, I believe, or the leg with the save.
1:19 and
it does
full
give a
shot
reset
clock,
to
so
the shot clock.
They can almost take it down to 0.
I suspected they were going to go with that strategy a moment ago, but the sea sort of parted there for Mickey Fitzpatrick and said, why not?
Maybe in the past the officials might have put on the 30-second stall, but with the shot clock now in effect, Lehigh, the worst Lehigh can probably do is come out of here with a 2-goal lead.
Can feel it.
In all the different time scenarios, so this is something I'm sure Lehigh has worked on coming into the game.
There's a quick run from Shelling. Tries to find Eichelberger. He couldn't catch it cleanly. And now it goes back. Laviano picks it off with 15. Here comes Virginia on the run. Krause spinning. Trying to deliver a pass off. Still 9 seconds for Virginia. Plenty of time. With 5. Matt Moore trying to get free. And Moore could not find Krause. Probably should have had to go there himself. But regardless, that is how the first half comes.
We'll talk about as recruited top players in their class.
The little piggy cry.
Guarded by Craig Chick, one of the best close players in all of college lacrosse. Opening faceoff of the second half is won cleanly.
Again, Gaffney did that first possession. Now Virginia able to turn them over.
Conrad cradling. He did well to avoid a pair of Mountain Hawks.
Now this first goal in the third quarter is because of the pace of play and because of the way Lehigh is winning faceoffs. It's important that Virginia get that first goal of the start of the third quarter.
And to look for Virginia this 2019 campaign, a little bit different from what they experienced last year. Herring has taken up the role at X for the majority of the time, and Krause moving into that role on the right wing. Speaking of, Michael Krause tried to do it all his own. Can't find the back of the net. And here's Chick coming away with a ground ball and a nice heave. Here comes transition lacrosse from Lehigh. The first time we've seen this tonight.
Yeah, Krause able to get inside the defense, but having to now again another foul on Virginia.
It's going to go against Conrad. Looked like a slash from my vantage point. Eckelberger going to be patient with it.
Yeah, Coach Tiffany very upset with that call. You know, one rule that we haven't talked about is they've made the box smaller, 5 yards. It used to be a 20-yard box. Now it's a 10-yard box that gets the coaches 5 yards closer to the officials, so they can voice their displeasure, which Coach Tiffany is right now. So a missed opportunity by Krause, and then now another man down situation. You know, in these, so often what happens is the longer the team possesses the ball, sometimes you're able to draw a second foul.
Manito lobs one a little bit over the head of Rye, and now here's a fight for it. College, he's stirring up trouble at midfield. Ball out of bounds. And then we will get the stoppage. So should get the slash on Conrad. We'll wait for it officially. Take another look here.
Yeah, that one-hand swing, more often than not, you're going to get the call because the official's opinion, you're not really playing the stick, you're just playing the man's arm. And with one hand, you're unlikely to, most checks are supposed to be in the attempt to dislodge the ball, and the one-arm check on the hands or the arm are not going to knock the ball loose. So we'll see.
It'll be 60 seconds for Lehigh to work another EMO.
It looked like Virginia trying a little gimmick and a little shut-off, but now settle back into their man down. Critical situation right here. Need a big save from Alex Rowe for Virginia if Lehigh gets the shot off.
Half of Lehigh's goals coming from extra man opportunities. Can they push that tally up to 4 here? Tomadello on that unit. Will let one go. Save made by Rode, and he got it cleanly. A quick lob looking for Connors. He can't scoop it cleanly, but right there to gather the change is Doc Sakin.
Again, a critical save. Tomanella probably took the shot that Virginia wanted him to take, an outside shot high from the top of the box. Probably the easiest save for a goalie to track, and a big turnover for Virginia.
So Lars Tiffany has given his team freedom to move in transition even when they're a man down if it's an opportunity that's worth taking. But right there, Virginia wisely turning back out and killing the rest of the penalty.
Well, you can see Alex Rowe throwing them really the touchdown pass to Connor on the break on man down, and Virginia fortunate to get the ground ball.
Aiken for Krause for Herring. Probing, finding Conrad, couldn't get it cleanly on the dunk, and
got a push.
Yes, that's going to go against Lehigh.
Well, with Mikey Herring, because you're really playing with your man-up unit, since you're seeing zone, Virginia's going to, put their best feeder behind, and that's probably Mikey Herring. You want Michael Krause in a shooting position.
Might have been Ramol charged right there at the top of the crease. Matt Moore now trying to get to work for Aiken, who finally got an ounce of daylight.
Yeah, but there's no room to maneuver against the zone.
Moore too high for Herring.
See, that's what the zone does. In the position where the ball can move quickly, you get a turnover. So credit again Lehigh's strategy of forcing Virginia away from their dodges and making them a passing
frustrating team. Virginia, and here comes the Cavalier ride though. Loose ball, empty net momentarily. Lehigh recovers, now still out there, and then finally away from danger there.
If you're Virginia, this is the kind of game you actually would like to have. A little bit unsettled, ball on the ground, try to make Lehigh use their legs.
Here's a shot which is going to go well wide.
I think Doc Taken a little frustrated, taking an outside shot. Fortunate for Virginia to have a backup.
Moore was the only one in relative distance to the end line. Here's a shake from Aiken, and he finally gets going. What an individual move, and firing that one low into the net. We got a 1-goal game.
Well, again, recognition by Dox Aiken. The zone was set, but they had short sticks on Dox Aiken and not Craig Schick. You can see he's a short stick matchup, and he's just able to power through Eichelberger and get the overhand release.
Shake and bake from Aiken, and that's a player it's really hard to keep down, Doug. And we saw it the last time. We saw Virginia, well, besides from their opener against Loyola in the NCAA tournament, really struggled through 3 quarters and then immediately had 3 in the fourth to try to claw his team back.
Well, they had 45 shots, so it wasn't a lack of offensive opportunity. You have to look at Loyola's effort at the goal. Jacob Stover, 18 saves. Is talking to Sean Corwin, the offensive coordinator. He said that they had good shots, but the combination of Loyola's offense and Jacob Stover was the difference. So important goal for Aiken, mentally as well as physically.
Schwenk with the head start, and now he gets the ground ball. Try to pass it back to Rode. Well done by Alex Rota.
He made a save on a pass.
Yeah, no doubt. Trying to split every defender right there, or midfielder, I should say, was Harris, and he did well to complete the clear. Krause now in Virginia have their eyes on a tie ball game.
You have to know at halftime that Virginia did make, certainly some offensive adjustments against the zone. The longer you see it, the more likely you are to find the gaps and be able to create opportunities. So, again, Virginia just needs, you have to dodge a zone. Somebody's got to beat somebody in order to beat the zone.
Schick is lurking right there, topside. Virginia dumps it to the doorstep. Moore with the shot. The run out's going to be close, and it's won by Spence. Good effort there from the veteran goalie.
Yeah, but that's a tough pass to someone who's facing you with their back to the goal. There's not much room inside the zone to be able to turn and shoot.
There's Krause on the ride, loses his stick, and is going to be charged with yet another penalty.
And who drew it? Craig Schick, just powering through the check by Krause, able to clear the ball. And his specialty is ground balls and ability to get balls into his offensive end. He's
an All-American for a reason.
He's a special player, no question. And I'm sure that's the reason why Lehigh felt they had to play the zone, because of having someone like him at the top of the box. Could be a hold.
Stoppage here at 9:08 to go in the third quarter. Yes, you got it.
Well, you got Krause chasing, and he pretty much loses his stick, and so he's trailing, and you can see that he's got his arm wrapped around Chick's shoulder.
And it was right at the midfield line, Doug.
Right.
So yet another mental slip right there. Krause is going to pay some time in the box. So only a 30-second penalty here.
But that's 4.5 minutes of penalties on Virginia total.
Tomadello tosses a pass to Rye, who's got a one today, searching. Right wing now, shot low, save made by Rode. And Rode has been Virginia's most valuable player, Doug, in my opinion, thus far today.
Well, turning in the man situation, even though they've given up 3 goals, he had 2 big saves in the earlier one when Aiken was still serving a full-time serve, and that's the second save he's made to give Virginia a possession.
9 saves, so well above the 50% mark.
And Virginia needs to be patient. Wait for the penalty to expire.
Well, Aiken go for the kill again. He thought about it.
And you need that 6th player to back up, get the X covered. So, Virginia just needs to wait. Now the penalty looks like it's up, and Mikey Herring will be coming through the box.
Here's a left hand from Michael Krause, high into the net, and we're all tied.
That's a shorthanded goal essentially for Virginia, because Herring was still in the process of coming into the game as the penalty was expiring. So, again, a little bit more opening for maybe the defense is getting tired, but their rotation was slow, and they were not able to get out on the shooter fast enough, and Krause took advantage of it. That's the second goal that Virginia scored against the zone, where the zone maybe was a little soft on the ball.
Yeah, for any of the spectators who are looking down at Herring coming out of the box, they missed a beauty from Michael Krause.
Well, I think what happens is when a team kills a penalty and they only have 5, that the defense maybe relaxes a little bit, thinking they have to wait for the 6th player to come in and play, and Michael Krause took advantage of it.
We're all knotted up 6-6 here at the 8-minute mark of the third quarter, Virginia and Lehigh. First time these teams have played, Doug, since 1906. So I think it's safe to say that nobody was really on Earth for the first meeting.
Yeah, I don't think
that was currently alive now.
I don't think that was on ACC Sports Extra. But this is going to be a great series. Talking to Coach Casillas last night, they're going to come back again next year. I would say feel there's a chance for better weather coming from Lehigh, but this is a really good early season game for both teams.
It's also not the first time Lars Tiffany has seen Lehigh, dating back to the Brown days.
Right. Well, he and Coach Casillas were co-coaches. They worked together.
Almost coming away with a cost turnover right there.
You got a loose ball push. You see the official's hand up, so it looked like a push on Virginia in the back. I didn't see it. It must have been in the back of the pile. The Virginia player was on the ground, but they called the loose ball push on Virginia.
Lehigh possession, trying to regain control. Still looking for that first goal of the second half. There's a nice skip pass.
Looked like it got knocked down by the defenseman.
And deflected right into the stick of road. He lobs one ahead. And a great ground ball picked up there by the Cavalier freshman, Grayson Salad.
Yeah, Alex is willing to throw that lob pass over top of the ride and try to get the ball down. So essentially what he's trying to do is quick clear. And if that pass is short, unfortunately, it's going to be picked off, and Lehigh would be coming the other way, but they've gotten away with 2 in this quarter.
Jeff Connor and Mikey Herring get back into it. Herring holding possession now for Krause, who's starting to find a rhythm.
And it looks like because of the quick clear, Virginia's able to keep Eichelberger on defense. That's something you want to try to do, is make a team's offensive midfielders stay down on defense.
Clears are one category where the Cavaliers are coming out on top, 11 of 12 compared to 8 of 13. And here's another one for Krause, not quite deja vu, but from the same vicinity, low to high. And now Virginia back on top, their first lead since 6:20 in the first quarter.
Give the assist to Doc Aiken.
And how about Krause finding that role on the right wing? Turning into a bread and butter here in the third quarter. Michael Krause pumping up the crowd. 2 goals and an assist. We're back with more action on ACC Network Extra after this. To the action, holding in a little bit here, Doug, on the Virginia junior out of New Canaan, Connecticut. Michael Krause, he's already got 3 goals today and showcasing some of his skills from the right alley.
Well, he's got 34 straight games now with a point. We've talked about that in the open. I see that Pat Spencer's got the longest streak with 52 games. So whatever number of games Pat Spencer plays in this year, that'll be the streak. But again, a tremendous number of points and consistency out of Michael Krause. You know, he certainly could break a lot of scoring records at the University of Virginia before his career is over. You know, what's interesting, Michael Krause came in with a little bit of a sore ankle, was somewhat hampered against Loyola. The one thing about the zone is Michael doesn't have to be as much of a dodger. He can pretty much, work out of one area. So he's shown if he plants his feet, he's had 2 big high goals in this quarter.
Yeah, that streak doesn't look like it's going to come to a close anytime soon. And he's also got pretty much 2 full seasons to go to add to that 34-game tally. Here's another face-off being fought for between Justin Schwenk and Connor Gaffney. This one trickles out to the wing. Conrad almost had it. We get a whistle on a stoppage. Lehigh possession.
Yeah, that's the second time Virginia's had a chance to pick it up, but then you've had a violation on the scoop.
Connors pokes this one free momentarily, going out towards the sidelines. Whipped back towards Greco. Greco trying to scoop it cleanly. Now, wisely.
Nice play by Logan Greco. Just kind of shoveling the ball back to Alex Rode. Running toward the sideline would have been a tough pickup, so he was smart just to run it back to his goalie and give Virginia a chance to get a much easier clear. And then the
turnover there, not cleanly taken by Krause.
Yeah, it's an unforced error right there.
Dave Smith, the culprit, but, not an extremely difficult catch to make. Not easy.
Well, you take a little bit off the ball and it's going to float on you, and that's a situation where we just talked about. They make a smart play at the defensive end, and then Fox throws a high pass over Michael Krause's head.
Manito motoring through midfield and finding Schelling. Rye, Schelling, Eckelberger, Buhol, Pearson, Tobinella, all the goal scorers.
Yeah, Michael Berger's been a warrior today. He's been on the field most of the night. Certainly their top offensive midfielder with Fitzpatrick playing some attack.
Mitty from the Woodlands, Texas. Here he is right now going around a pick.
And you can see Virginia starting to do more double teams. Little earlier slides, trying to create some turnovers.
Jump shot high low, won't go. Run out's going to be close. Won by Virginia. Greco there.
Yeah, that's where your trail official really comes into play. He's got the sideline, even though the official on the goal was closest to the sideline. It's a trail who's going to make that call, and he made the correct call.
Jama now crosses that restraining line on a toss, which finds Matt Moore.
If you're Virginia, what you would like to do is continue to attack the zone, and in some ways, if you get enough of a lead, it puts Coach Cassis in a position where he may have to try to come out of the zone and go man-to-man. Right now, the zone is still with a one-goal deficit.
Has found the antidote to it the last 2 times down. We'll see if they go to him here.
Well, he's got a short stick on that wing, so he's essentially dodging against the short. That's where the zone is vulnerable. The wings dodging, with the back.
Krause. Laviano now takes up the role on the right alley. Simmons, shake and bake. Lehigh staying home, staying disciplined.
Yeah, Lehigh, no pressure behind. Really playing a man-down kind of a defense with one step behind the goal, but no pressure behind the attacks.
Really clogging up that middle. Conrad for Herring. It's crowded in there in the middle.
Tough to feed the ball inside.
Moore with 2 with 1 to shoot. And this one is saved by Spence. So an outstanding defensive possession there for Lehigh.
Yeah, that's a win right there.
Spence goes all the way across midfield, evades Moore, and now searches for help and finds Eckelberger.
Yeah, that's an excellent play all around, because anytime your goalie crosses the midline, first of all, it's scary for the coach, but also a lot of times that's when you get an offside. So good discipline by Lehigh to recognize and make sure they didn't go offsides, because the goalie would have been caught all the way across the line on the quick restart.
Under 3 to go here in the third quarter. 7-6 your ball game. Virginia with all 3 of the second half goals thus far. Pitching a shutout for the moment in the third quarter alone. Lehigh trying to change that. 30 seconds on the shot clock. Far wing. Fitzpatrick, who has an assist today. Darts a pass topside, rolling around a little pick. Close was probing.
You can see Virginia looking for the quick double. Want to speed up the game.
There's one right there. Right on cue, Doug. Causes a turnover. Spinning out of a crowd is Fox. Fox, what looked like it was going to be a very nice outlet pass. Connors could not take it, but right back to Fox, and now he bats one in the direction of Laviano.
A lot of ground balls between the restraining lines in this game, Luke. Contested on both sides, but there's been a number of errant passes that have given chances for both teams to extend or get possessions. I don't know what the turnover numbers are so far, but both teams have probably a high number.
Cavaliers have the 11-5 ground ball advantage in the second half. It's been part of the story of how they've manufactured a few of their goals. Here's a shot which is a little bit ambitious from Aiken. And Lehigh has it the other direction.
Virginia had a chance to take the clock down. The possession had just really started when they got the ground ball, and Aiken takes an outside high shot. And again, we talk about shot placement and also shot efficiency. And again, what Doc Aiken did was take a zone-friendly shot.
Connor comes sprinting off for Virginia. Dave Smith back into it, also trotting on for Lehigh there, making a change.
Now Lehigh can play for the 30 in the quarter and a little more in the shot clock.
Yep. Game clock, all that matters currently. Manito staring down Smith.
Look for the quick double from Virginia. Pressure and then a double.
Not an easy grab right there for Rye, but he corrals it. Searching for a man, picks... shelling out momentarily, but that's it for the third quarter. So no shot on goal there, and no goals for Lehigh in the third quarter. Virginia strikes back with 3 behind Michael Kraus leading the charge, finding the crack in that zone. Aiken got it going in the start of the second half, and then his fellow junior finished off some of the work. Michael Kraus from the right wing. We're back with the fourth quarter after these words on ACC Network Extra.
Are you guys good with brakes? We're okay. Just okay? Yeah, we have a saying here. If you can't stop, you can still honk.
Networks like mechanics should never be just okay. AT&T is America's best wireless network according to America's biggest test. Now with 5G.
When I noticed my sister moving differently, I didn't know what was happening. She said it was like someone else was controlling her mouth. Her doctor said she has tardive dyskinesia, which may be related to important medication she takes for her depression. Her ankles would also roll and her toes would stretch out. TD can affect different parts of the body. It may also affect people who take medications for bipolar disorder and schizophrenia.
We were so relieved to learn that today TD is manageable.
Learn more at talkabouttd.com.
ESPN and the ACC bring you ACC Network coming August 2019. 15 universities all on one network. Visit getaccn.com to learn more. Back here for some Friday night lacrosse here in mid-February. Number 11, Virginia on top of Lehigh heading into the fourth quarter. 7-6 is your score. Luke Neer with you on the headset, providing play-by-play alongside long-time person of interest in the game of lacrosse, Doug Terry.
Yeah, you had to say long time, didn't you? Yeah, I think, I certainly think the Friday night decision was a good one for both the teams and for the quality of the play. We know that there was some weather coming in, maybe not quite as bad as they originally thought, but certainly, this game deserved the best conditions possible. 2 outstanding teams with aspirations of conference and NCAA championships, and so good move by both schools to agree to play a Friday night game.
Temperatures hovering in the high 50s tonight with a slight breeze. It always feels a little bit chillier up at the heights of Klockner. This face-off between Gaffney and Schwenk is going to be taken by Schwenk. Looked like Gaffney just lost sight of the ball. Schwenk now, Laviano gets the hands free, and it rockets one high into the net. Virginia by 2, 8-6 your score.
Well, that was the first really clean win for a Virginia face-off, man. Most of the wing play has been involved for Virginia to get. And, Lehigh still has the advantage in face-offs from 11-5 and now 11-6. But anytime you can push that ball forward on the face-off, you get a 4-on-3. Certainly not a zone type of situation for Lehigh to recover, and Laviano steps in and shoots the high shot on Spence. So
Schwenk wisely not getting baited there, finding an attackman instead of trying to do it himself.
I did find out that Schwenk and Gaffney actually worked out together this summer, so they know each other very well. So that was a concern whether that would be an advantage or disadvantage. So
those 2 back-to battle. Gaffney gets the better of Schwenk here and takes this one away for Lehigh.
Two good friends playing against each other, but both very good face-off men. So clean win for Schwenk, gets a goal, and Virginia loses a face-off, but it looks like they're able to force Lehigh into a substitution situation. And this is where the shot clock does come in, because, again, you do lose, 5 to 8 seconds trying to get your personnel on the field.
Virginia gets its defensive middies in, and Lehigh will go with Crucentron, the number 1 jersey. Along with Tombanello also into the action. Wrapping around the crease. Right there is Fitzpatrick searching.
And Fitzpatrick is a midfielder based on his positional chart, but forced into attack position because of the injuries.
He's sticking up rolls all around the attacking third this evening. A nice move and a bouncer right there. Tomanello adds his second to the score sheet. Wow.
Outstanding play by Tomanello. He split the defense. Virginia had him surrounded on both sides. He's able to pull his stick through and then have the ability to gather himself after coming out of the dodge with a bounce shot on road. So excellent play by Tomanello and a huge goal for Lehigh.
Outstanding.
Breaks a drought of a good, it's about a 20 or 25 minute break when Lehigh scored their last goal. So that's a huge goal for the Mountain Hawks.
Just held that stick in a textbook position where the defenders could not get a crack at it.
Well, they always tell you when you're on defense to not go for the head of the stick, but go for the hands, and that was a perfect example. Virginia went for the head of the stick, and Tomanello was able to pull it through and score a big goal for Lehigh.
He's got 3 points on the night, 2 goals, 1 assist. The other Mountain Hawk with 3 is Rye. He's got a goal and 2 dimes, and winning another faceoff right here. Can Lehigh level the game? In an unsettled situation, they can't catch Virginia completely off guard. But
they fed the pole and just not able to pull the stick back and get a shot off. So Virginia with a nice check.
Golfing for it, and now he scoops it up on the sideline in traffic. Now a horde of Mountain Hawks comes to him, but well done by College to find Will Rock.
Yeah, he was surrounded by 4. Again, when you swing at the stick, sometimes you miss. A lift check or just a check on the hand sometimes is much more effective than trying to go for the head of the stick.
We have not called Ryan Conrad's name often this evening, but he's right in the middle there next to Laviano. Still trying to find rhythm after missing the lion's share of last season due to that ACL injury. Aiken now in a one-on-one situation. He cherishes that. Matt Moore frees the hands. Great save there from Spence. Moore tries again. Another save right at the doorstep.
Well,
it's going to be Lehigh possession. Closest man to the line right there on the far side.
Couldn't tell whether it was Moore in the crease or whether it was a run out because it looked like the ball went over the end line. And I couldn't tell whether that the Lehigh defenseman was closer to the end line. And, it's always the ball, not the end line. But in the official's opinion, unless Matt Moore had stepped in the crease, which we couldn't see. But a quick restart. Don't want to foul here.
Lehigh with another chance to equalize as we approach 12 minutes to play in regulation.
The last few shots Virginia's taken, they scored high, and so now the last save Spence has made high. So, Virginia needs to mix up the playing a little bit, change the level of the release. And most of the goals that Spence has given up have been high, but some low shots would probably work.
Nice pick play from Lehigh. Great snag there from Fitzpatrick. One looked like it was bound for.
Virginia with a stick in the passing lane, able to get the turnover.
Greco now.
The one thing about, you talked about Ryan Conrad, he certainly would be much more effective in a man-to-man situation. I mean, the zone has really negated his quickness and athleticism, so he's pretty much playing as an off-ball midfielder with playing primarily Aiken and Krause and Moore at the top of against the zone.
Aiken's effectiveness minimized a little bit as well, and part of that might be to Chick, who's been on Aiken for the majority of regulation today.
Well, the top of the zone, the string is what it's called. He really controls the direction of the ball, and he can force a team to one side or the other. And again,
forced
Virginia,
turnover right
forced
there.
turnover.
Chick was there, so was Eckelberger. So I don't know who will get the official CT in their line, but here comes Lehigh trying to tie, saved by Rode. Saw it on the way from
Fitzpatrick.
You said it right there. Mickey Fitzpatrick receives this little dump off from Tristan Rye. Both teams making their changes, getting the correct personnel in. Next up for Lehigh in February, their last February game is going to be at Cornell.
I talked to Coach Cassis. He said, it's a tough opening schedule, but that's what prepares us for our league. He understands the challenges for his team, but he also feels the team that he has healthy is capable of playing with anyone.
Four of their first 5 were on the road, and they've had that one home outing against Hofstra, which was last time out a 4-3 strange score, especially in the shot clock era. And here's a clean pick from the Virginia freshman, showcasing his skills. Kate Sawstead right there.
Now, Sawstead is long and has a great stick, and that's the kind of a pickoff that really will help Virginia. Again, if you want to, you always talk about sticking the passing lane. That was a perfect example right there.
Highly touted out of Dallas, Texas.
That has become a hotbed for recruiting. Texas, big state, many big schools with great athletes, and seeing a lot of Texas players who are impact in Division I. Use the zone to try to take away some individual dodges by Virginia, but Matt Moore just sidesteps the defender, clears his hands, and again, that's where Matt Moore being on attack really helps Virginia's offense, because last year they primarily had one dodging attackman, Michael Krause, with Mike DeMario and Ian Laviano playing on the inside. So you now have a power dodger coming from each side, Krause and Moore.
Matt Moore freeing up the right hand right there, and he is so talented with his stick skills, can shoot lefty and righty, but Ian Laviano is for sure a left-handed shooter, which is why you see Matt Moore out on that far wing. This face-off is going to be trying to tie, saved by Rode. Saw it on the way from
Fitzpatrick.
You said it right there. Mickey Fitzpatrick receives this little dump-off from Tristan Rye. Both teams making their changes, getting the correct personnel in.